I was one of those kids who I don't know. I don't know what was happening to me. I just didn't follow rules. I hate rules still now. Like me and rules, we don't get along, but they have to be there. You get it's life. I was expelled.
What did you do to get expelled?
It's not a nice thing. I feel like when my parents watch this, if they get to watch this, it's going to be like, so she knew what she was doing. No. Yeah, I became quite a problem child. Like, yeah.
What did you do to get expelled? Is it something you can share or not? I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah, I think it's okay. No, this is one of the things I wish I can start advocating for.
Okay.
So in Our Lady of Africa, there was a system where fellow students, prefects, right, could cane students.
Oh.
Like, how is that okay? We are all here to learn, right? So I always had an issue with that. Like, how is a fellow student going to cane me? We are in the same system. You get
right.
You're putting on a uniform. We wake up at the same time. We eat the same food. You don't make money, you know? So why do you feel like you have the authority to beat me?
Mujevale. My name is Bani Kibuka, and welcome to another episode of the Ugandan Ball Talk Show.
You're the first Ugandan who has kept time on the podcast.
What do you mean?
Every time I host people from Uganda, they're always like an hour late or 30 minutes late, or just before we record, they're like, oh, sorry, let's reschedule. So like, I mean, sometimes.
You know, my boss is always telling me I need to learn how to keep time.
No, I think you kept time because we were supposed to start recording at 9. It's like 8. 9 the US time, but it's like 2 minutes before that. So yeah, thanks for keeping time.
Anytime. You're supposed to try and, content creating, you're supposed to try and be like very good with your time and all that. Yeah. I'm learning. It's not a strength, but I'm learning. Yeah.
No, time management is really, really something like a lot of people need to work on, especially. And when I say this, when I come back to Uganda and I say this, people think like, oh, he's now American, he pretends like he's white, but like time management is really a big deal, especially in Uganda.
I feel like, okay, when you get to interact with other people from different communities, you understand that we have different lifestyles. Like sometimes, for us, it's like, okay, see you at 2, I'll show up at 3. Like I'm going to take my time and I'm going to, I watched one of your podcasts. You hosted, I think, Joel something. Who said he had to represent the Africans.
Actually,
I just laugh. That's a funny thing, and that's the mindset we have anyway.
Yeah, Joel actually he lives in the US, and he was explaining why he was late, and I was like, every time Ugandans are really late, and the one I just released with Mochibi, I was actually the one I wasn't late, but it was just a time difference problem because he lives in Bangkok, which is 11 hours from the US. So when he told me the date and the time, I didn't realize that US is 11 hours behind. That's like almost a whole day, So when I set in my time, it was behind like a day. And I was sleeping and he sent me text like, hey, I'm available. Are you ready? I woke up in the morning and I missed it. So he thought like I was
you're practicing your African timing.
Right. Yeah, that's why he said, I thought you pulled the Ugandan thing on me.
And we never get offended. Actually, we do. Do you know how we be telling our friends, I hear, why are you late? You're not here. When this one time you make it earlier, they get screaming at everybody else. You guys are late. What? And if you forget, like, this is our practice. We need to get better.
I used to make fun of one of my friends back in Uganda, Gibson. Every time he's early, like, he's always late. But one time he comes early, he's like, oh, Jesus is coming back. This guy is on time. But anyway, I like we just started right away and just dug into the podcast, but without even doing your introduction. So the listeners will be like, "What the heck is going on today? You didn't even introduce the person." But that's how I roll, and like, especially now these episodes that I'm doing, as I tell people, I'm learning and teaching myself. So the more I go with these podcasts, I learn to be comfortable and just not pressure myself. And the way it goes is that's the way I go with it. So if we start off just going on a conversation without an introduction, that's how it's gonna go. But anyway, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I was just so excited. I told you.
Yeah.
I was excited. Like the whole week I've been waiting for this day. Okay.
It makes me happy to bring people, no matter what their status is, what their lifestyles. Like if I see somebody, I'm like, hey, I really want to host you on. If I see something you've done and it triggers me, it's like, hey, I want to host you on my podcast. Maybe you have something that you can share with the people who listen. I don't really care. Most people push to like get celebrities, which I would love to have celebrities on here because they can talk about their lives and what they've been through. But if I can get a normal, regular person who people can relate to, that's also, as long as somebody can share a story. And
I feel like we can learn from everybody. Every place, every time. There's always an opportunity to learn something new. So why not?
Okay.
We're not celebrities. They have more interesting lives though, but
yeah. So we are 5 minutes into the podcast already. And people don't know your name.
Oh my God. So my name is Atim Prisca Inyang. Yeah. But on social media, I'm Miss Inyang. I use Miss Inyang.
That's where I was gonna start from. Why did you choose Miss Inyang on your Instagram, especially?
Okay. Basically, it's a very cheesy explanation, trust me, because I've seen that there are very many Atim Priscas, right? On social media, like you type Atim Prisca. I remember there's a time I was searching, like I searched Atim Prisca and there were so many people, you get. So I'm like, wait, my dad's name is not known. It's like one of those rare names. Like, you know what? Let me use it. Let me use my dad's name. I always wanted to have it, so why not? So I took the time and I'm like, Miss Inyang is the name. Yeah.
Okay.
It's my family name. Yeah.
That is nice. I was wondering. I'm like, why did she choose that? Why did she pick Miss Inyang? But I'm glad you explained that. So what is your background like? Because I know when you say Miss Inyang, what you have a background, especially us who are like from Africa, from Uganda. Whenever you say your name, like Bonnie Chibuka, somebody in the head will be like, oh, Bonnie Chibuka, that's from Uganda. He's from here. So what is your background like?
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, it's fine.
So I'm actually that's it. I'm actually from the northern part of Uganda. For your listeners who are international, I'm from the northern part of Uganda. I'm actually, and the name Inyang is from the north. It's a rare name, but it's there. Yeah.
That's what I was about to ask you because I know every African name. I mean, I wouldn't say every, but at least in Uganda, each person has. Oh, my name means this. My name means that.
True. So I don't know what Inyang means. I don't know where the story came. Like most people, when I say my dad's name is Inyang, like I mention his name, everyone is like, but I've not had that name. You get?
Yeah.
So I'm sure it had a story, and it's something to do with strength. I've tried to look into it. So it's something to do with strength and resilience. So yeah, it's somewhere in there, but I don't know what exactly it is.
Yeah, I mean, I would have guessed, like, because I grew up in Uganda, I can make a guess, but I didn't want to guess or assume because it could be a different, and you're like, oh, you get it wrong because you assumed. So it's always nice to hear from the person themselves, and that's why I asked.
Yeah, and the thing is, most of us have names that cut across, like depending on the regions, especially in the north and eastern, we share so many names.
Right.
So like my name Atim, I use it, it's given to people from both north and east. So, and they both have different meanings. Now, in the north, it means foreign, like you weren't born in at home, in the areas of home.
Okay.
Then in the East, it's something to do with forgiveness among the Teso people. Yeah. So the names cut across, but usually they have different meanings.
Do people in Sudan or South Sudan use the same names or no? Or it's different?
I think we have some. We have a few, like Achan. I've not had a team, but yeah, because we are from basically the same ethnic group. Yeah, it's just the whole history of traveling and white.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, my mom is Kenyan and she's Kalenjin. So when you hear people from like Northwest, is it Northwest? Oh no, like the runners, like Kiprop, like
Kiprotich.
So my mom's tribe in Kenya, they name those names in Kalenjin.
Yeah, so the islanders.
But like when you go to the area of Mount Elgon, they have the same names because I don't know how it happens. People think these are runners from Kenya that moved to Uganda to run for Uganda, but there's also people from that, because she's a Nilotic. Yeah, my mom is a Nilotic.
Yeah. So. That is Africa for you. We are just there. We are so many. Everywhere. So many groups that are actually very similar. So yeah.
So did you go to school in the north, or where were you born and how did you end up where you are? Are you in Kampala right now?
Yeah, I'm in Kampala.
Right. So what's your back? How did you start from there? Walk us through how you ended up in Kampala, or if you were born in Kampala too, you can just say that.
I wasn't born in Kampala.
Okay.
I was born in Arua. At the time, I think my dad was working in Darfur. So yeah, my family was in Arua, so I was born in Arua and would basically go and visit home. Like, go to Gulu because I come from Gulu. So I would go home because that's where most of the family was. But my education has been in Kampala. Yeah, I went to Namgongo Girls Boarding Primary School. Yeah, it's a single school. Yeah, that was one of my foundation schools.
Okay.
Then I moved to quite a number of schools in my O-level. Okay. I think I was like, puberty and everything.
Was it because of you being stubborn, or was it because all right.
Yeah.
Because it's either problem of school fees, or this kid was just stubborn. That's why people moved to different schools.
I was one of those kids who I don't know what was happening to me. I just didn't follow rules. I hate rules still now. Like me and rules, we don't get along, but they have to be there. You get it's life. So I went to Maryland for senior 1, Maryland High School in Tebe. Then senior 2, I was in Our Lady of Africa. Then there I was expelled.
What did you do to get expelled?
It's not a nice thing. I feel like when my parents watch this, if they get to watch this, it's going to be like, so she knew what she was doing. No. Yeah, I became quite a problem child. And Our Lady of Africa expelled me in my senior 3. And then, though, when they expelled me, my parents kind of wanted them to recommend them to another school because they didn't want me to end up in one. You know how people end up in those schools where you've not heard of any good performance. My parents are a sucker for traditional teachings. They like that foundational thing, like the traditional upbringing. So Our Lady of Africa sent in a recommendation for me after they expelled me.
What did you do to get expelled? Is this something you can share or not? I mean, you don't have to.
Yeah, I think it's okay. No, this is one of the things I wish I can start advocating for.
Okay.
So in Our Lady of Africa, there was a system where fellow students, prefects, right, could cane students.
Oh.
Like, how is that okay? We are all here to learn, right? So I always had an issue with that. Like, how is a fellow student going to cane me? We are in the same system. You get?
Right.
You're putting on a uniform. We wake up at the same time. We eat the same food. You don't make money, So why do you feel like you have the authority to beat me?
Yeah.
regardless of what I've done. So I always protested that. Like I was like, no, I'm not going to get caned by this student. So yeah, so most of the time I'd like end up in problems because the prefects, they had so much ego, and they'd end up saying I'm being indisciplined, and then they forward you to the staff room. Now in the staff room, you're trying to explain yourself. The teachers don't want to listen because they believe the prefects are right.
Yeah.
You get, so that's where most of the issue came from. Yeah.
Okay.
Capital punishment. Yeah, so senior 3, I ended up, for my senior 4, I started St. Mary's College, Lugazi. Yeah, and I finished well.
Okay.
I was always a bright kid.
Okay.
Yeah, not to brag.
No, I know. All the schools you talked about, like they're really good schools, so you can't go there if you're not a smart kid.
Yeah, then for HSC, I went to Seta High School, Green Campus.
Okay.
I finished my HSC from there, and yeah, and I ended up at UCU for law school. Then now, of course, work. I do advocacy for like land rights.
Okay.
And also I work for a content creator. Okay.
So that's really nice to see your journey, and this is why I do these podcasts for like somebody whatever the level they're at. They might be like in high school, they might be in university, just to give them the hope that you can achieve, you can get to whatever you want to do. And somebody listening to your story, like even if somebody got expelled, and going back to what you were talking about, the prefects caning students, I had it in my school. I was not tolerating that. Like, I never got expelled. I think I did just for a week. So what happened was
a suspension.
I was stubborn, but I would find actually, I'm just lying. I was really stubborn. So in my high school, I got suspended because we were not allowed to drive cars to school, because the school I went to, you can't drive the car to school. It was kind of that school where they tell you can't even wear an expensive shoe than your teacher. So it was a poor school. It was like a middle class school, I would say. I didn't go to like a really Kampala fancy schools.
Yeah.
So this one day, my parents were out of town. I was driving and nobody was gonna pick me up from school. So I go home, pick up my mom's car, bring it to school. And when I drove it to school, the school just went crazy because kids don't bring cars to school. And the kids just went crazy. And the head teacher was like, what's happening in the school? Everybody is screaming. The kids were screaming. And then they were like, oh, Bunny brought a car to school. Bunny brought a car to school. And the head teacher walked out. He's like, why are you doing this to my school? Like, what are you trying to do? And he screamed at me. He told me, get out of the school, get out. And it was closing school, but like he told me, get out. And we were doing final exams. And he said, you're not going to do the remainder of your exams. And, like if you miss them, then you're not going to get results. That was the thing. So he kicked me out and they locked the car inside the school. They made me walk back home. I took a border. But so when my parents came back, my mom was on the disciplinary committee for the parents-teacher thing for the school. So they called her to school and they explained, and she talked to them. But then I had to come back to school, apologize. So that was the first time. Then the second time when I was in Form 5, I went to Chisubi. So we used to clean our classes, but I was doing sciences and we had arts students. So we would clean our science room, and these arts students would come to our class and they make it dirty. So we were like, me and one guy, our boss, he's a stubborn guy. We were like, let's go make the arts class dirty too. So we intentionally went. So the class teacher had put a lock on the class so that we don't make it dirty. So these guys will come for preps in our class and make it dirty. So we go cut the lock and throw it outside the fence. We enter the class and make it dirty, like purposely. And when this class teacher came, she was like, "Where's my padlock?" And like we threw it like outside the fence, and we got in trouble. They took us to the office. But yeah, that's a few times though.
How did you even get caught? Where did you get that from?
Oh my god!
You're like carrying the bins back, like you know how they collect rubbish in school, like in bins. Do you take them back in the classes?
Yeah,
Lol.
yeah. We just go, just pour it down, and
energy.
just make the class dirty, just purposely to just make it dirty.
So how did they single you guys out? Like
I don't
it
know.
was
I
this
think
guy.
no, the art students knew who did it, so they reported us.
Oh.
Like they say, "Oh," but we did it intentionally. We just wanted to just do it, and I don't know what we thought was gonna happen. But and then the one other time, what did I do? Oh, so they didn't allow us to have phones in school. I mean, I think most schools they
To
didn't
me
allow
with
us.
those kids.
No, I wasn't those kids, but this what happened.
Okay.
There was a day student who was selling a nice phone. It was a Nokia, a flip, those phones that you slide back in the yeah. And I really wanted it. I had saved up some money, so I was like, it was coming towards the close of the term, so I knew if I buy it, I'm gonna keep it to the school just one night, and then I'll take it home the next day. So I bought it and I showed some of my friends, and my friends were like, "Oh yeah, Bonnie has a phone." And in the night, there's this one guy who watched my steps and he was trying to steal it. So this guy stole the phone that night.
Yeah.
And I wake up in the morning, I was so tired, pissed off. I want to go home, but the time had not closed. We still had like a day or two to go home. And I finished I think they were mock exams. I grabbed my backpack. I was a boarding student. And I just walked straight through the gate. I'm going home. So I walked through the gate, nothing. I just
no pass, nothing.
No pass, no nothing. I told the security guards, I'm going home. I get out the gate. There was a border passing. I stopped it. I sat on the border. I went home. And I went to my room and just laid in my bed and slept. My mom walking through the room was like, "Bunny, aren't you supposed to be in school?" I was like, "Mom, I'm tired of school. I'm home." So when I left the school, the kids at school, my friends, I had really good friends. I was a prefect, so I had really good friends who liked me, and my friends they found the guy who stole the phone. They tied him up and put him in the ceiling. And the warden came and he was like, "Why is this guy in the ceiling? He stole Bonnie's phone. Where's Bonnie?" Bonnie's nowhere to be seen.
He's nowhere to be seen.
And that made it worse. So that's another suspicious guy. But yeah, that's just
how. But your security guards, how did you walk through a school gate?
They were my friends. They liked me. So I just
you
told them.
were one of those kids.
The one thing I did when I go to a school, I make friends with the cook, the security guards, and those ladies that make like teachers' food, because they always give me some of the teachers' food.
Yeah, like nice food, better food.
But anyway, I didn't plan on. I didn't plan on talking about my story on your episode, but that was funny. But anyway, so did you then move to Kampala for education, right?
Yeah.
Did your whole family? Did you move with your whole family?
Yeah, we've all studied here.
Okay.
We've all studied here, but most times we go back home in Gulu. Yeah, because my mom is stationed that side, like she likes it there.
Okay.
And she would always want to have us home with her, so we'd go and have holidays with her most of the time. Because on very rare occasions where I would probably stay with some cousins or at home, because we have a home like around. Yeah.
How many siblings do you have?
The known ones, 5.
Okay.
You know why I'm saying that?
Yeah, I know why you're saying that.
Yeah, so the known ones, 5.
And are those the ones you know, or?
Yeah, the ones I know.
Okay, all right. Are they boys, girls?
I have 2 sisters, the 3 girls and 2 boys. Yeah.
Okay. And what's your position in those 5?
I'm number 2.
Number 2. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, but thanks for talking about your background. I can't believe
Yeah.
you took all the. I mean, I shared a little bit of my story, but just
That
going.
is so
I'm
good.
passionate about that, and I like that. But so yeah, we've done your background, and one thing I was trying to think about ever since the day I said I'm gonna host you my podcast is like, how did
Yeah.
I meet? How did I meet Inyang? Like how? I don't remember how I met you, but I
I think
think
it's Instagram.
through
Yeah.
Instagram, but I still even don't know how Instagram.
I
So,
know.
and I think we've
No.
been friends for a while, but I don't even
Yeah.
remember when.
Yes, we have. I remember in my second year, actually first year,
Mhm.
I went to visit a friend of mine, like in Moods,
Okay.
like for the weekend, and we were talking. I don't know, and then we were checking our Instagrams and all that, and she told me, she's like, "Oh my God, you need to follow this person. They do like planes and what?" Because I remember we were talking about planes,
Oh,
and then she's like, "Oh my God, yeah, there's someone I follow that is always posting planes, like
who is that
engines."
person?
I don't remember. She's called Agatha, I think.
I get that.
She's called Agatha.
I think I know about two Agathas, but yeah, uh-huh.
And then I go on my Instagram and she tells me check for Bash. I'm like, okay. So I go on my Instagram and I like search and I'm like, follow. And you didn't take long, you followed back like ASAP.
Yeah, I usually
Okay.
follow back with people. I like
Yeah.
making friends, and I think most of the people I've hosted my podcast are people that I just met through Instagram and just
Yeah.
watch through that. So I hosted one of the guy from the Valas podcast who made a statement that the internet is the best thing that has ever happened in our generation, and that's why I'm happy for that. That here today I'm
Yeah.
having a conversation with you. We've never met face to face.
Yeah.
We've been friends for a long time, but we're having a conversation that other people are going to listen to and maybe learn a thing or two, and that'll be great.
Yeah.
So when I followed you on Instagram and
Mhm.
I saw you were running like a YouTube channel, what pushed you to run a YouTube channel? What was your reason behind that?
COVID.
Okay.
I was bored. I was so bored.
That's the same thing. I started the podcast through COVID because
Yeah.
we had all this
Yeah.
time on our hands. It's like, what are we
Much
gonna do?
time.
Yeah.
So much time. Like, but COVID was, I think, to a certain extent very good for us. Like, I think it was like, yeah, it had parts of it that was really good, besides the sad bit.
Yeah.
It now for me, I started an online business. I started a YouTube channel, which I'm still learning to, be like consistent with. But yeah, it was basically COVID. And also I had wanted to do the YouTube thing like for a while.
Okay.
But I didn't have the courage.
What did you want to do with it? Like what kind of things did you want to do?
I wanted to bring up topics that were uncomfortable for people. I've always wanted to talk about that, and I don't know how many times I have told my friends we need to sit down and talk about things that we don't usually like to talk about. These are like very tiny. These are conversations that we think don't have impact, but they actually do. Not the silent things. Yeah,
that's really good. Actually, if you've never, there's a guy who does uncomfortable conversations. No, I mean it's mainly in the US context, but it's still relatable to everybody, and it could give you ideas. He's called Emmanuel Acho. Yeah, he does uncomfortable conversation with a black man or something like that, black person. He hosts a lot of people. There's one interview he had with Lil Wayne. He brings like, a lot of people. I follow him, and I'll share with you his work. It's something that's really interesting. But that's something I wanted to do to not necessarily uncomfortable conversation, but I wanted to do stories from people like you, from other people. So just to like uplift other people in Uganda, because right now people in Uganda have internet, and I assume like if somebody wants to learn something, they could put that to a good use. Like if somebody has data, they will go to YouTube and listen to this episode and they learn something like from your story, from what I just shared about getting suspended. Like, oh yeah, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that because it will cause you like different problems. Because it caused me some, I mean, not really a lot, but I mean, I'm still in the history of the school. Like they have those records. Like you find kids who message you like, oh, this is Bonnie. We read about you from the disciplinary committee. Like you did this in 2015. Like,
oh my God, you've reminded me. Like, do you know there is a visitation day? You know how we have videos like at our school? And my parents came to visit me and my name was like all over the school for being a notorious kid. Imagine. How am I laughing about this today? Like my name was everywhere, but and you know when your parents see such things, they get so furious, right? My dad is like, this girl is so quiet at home. How is she this in school?
My parents knew I was stubborn, and that's the thing. Like when senior ones, I went back to that school at some point to finish my senior 6 because I went to Chisubi for Form 5, and then I was like, no, I went back to the school that I went to, and these kids from senior 1 will be like, that's Bonnie, that's the kid that got suspended, that's the kid that did this, that's the kid, and like but senior 6 I was just quiet. I just wanted to get my exams done and leave.
Get focused and everything. That's the same thing I did. Like when I joined HSC, I'm like, I'm here to study, finish, and get out of here. Like,
So when I was having a conversation with you about preparing for this, you talked about things that you are passionate about, like things you want to talk about, especially the millennials. Like, to some people who don't know the word, and I don't know if there's anybody who doesn't know what the word millennial is, but like to those people who don't know, how would you explain that to them?
Millennials. I've actually been asked this before, like by a very old man. I hope he doesn't see this. A friend of mine, anyway, he's not an old man. A friend of mine, he's a bit like older. So he asked me, like, so who are millennials? I'm like, oh, so millennials. But I want to describe it as people of a certain generation, of our generation. That's basically what I tell them, like a younger generation, the younger generation. They're millennials.
So people look at that, especially older people, I would say, like what you just said, look at us as like, this is like a wrong generation. Like they see only bad things about it. Like, how do you think about that? What do you think about our generation?
I think our generation is very innovative. And I don't think we are wrong. I feel like we've had life thrown at us at very different circumstances comparing to our parents. We've been between evolution, right? Like seeing things change from, especially the 90s kids. Like we've seen that older part, and then we've seen the newer type of life. You get, like everything has changed. So we've adopted to so many things, and that is why I really believe this is probably like if not the best, this is a very, very good generation. Besides, we have a lot of issues with work, but we are very good people.
I like when you say like, I like when you say like the kids from the 90s, because I grew up in the 90s, and the technology, we were still a little behind. But like growing up in that generation where you see evolution, like things are just changing, like from a flip phone to a smartphone to like even the things we do right now. Like I'm thinking about it, like right now, this in our generation, we have like podcasts, like things like this we can do to help the kids that are growing up. Like right now, the kids who are like 8, 15, like we never had podcasts for people to share about their stories.
We didn't have manuals to do life. Like, but for some reason, we are leaving trails for the other people. Like, this life, there are no rules to it. Like, just do you.
That's crazy because even when I was growing up, the only time I listened to a radio was when I was listening to a football match, like Arsenal. That's the only time I was. So that's the only thing I knew. And like growing
Yeah.
up now, you realize how little of the knowledge you have because the only time I listened to a radio was the soccer matches. The only time you watch TV, I mean, we used to watch movies and all that, but
Movies, yeah.
translated movies because then you can hardly even understand the English. So you just like Junior because he makes it funny. I'm Kubia Chassis.
I didn't watch those, but okay.
I did. I watched
Actually, for me, till today, I have a problem with translated movies. Like,
okay.
I
No,
don't want them.
I grew up with translated movies. I wouldn't say like I watched them. I watched
Yeah.
the Junior Kachandika Butandisi. Oh,
Hey,
like all the but now I don't think I can watch a translated movie. I don't think I can.
that's so ridiculous. Like, they give you a whole different plot.
Mhm. Like you miss out on like a lot of
So many.
information.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, I was just comparing to see how we've evolved and like how life has changed. And yeah, I think there's a lot of negativities too. I
Yeah.
don't know with the millennial. Like, I mean, some people think we're disrespectful, but that goes to a personality. What do you think about what people think like we're disrespectful?
I think we are very vocal.
Okay.
That's where most people think the disrespect is from.
Mhm.
Traditionally, like the African community, as a child, you're told you don't speak.
Right.
You're told to do things like your mom will say, "No, get out."
Mhm.
But a millennial now, when she doesn't want to eat, she'll say, "No, I don't want to eat. Like, I don't have to come to the table because it's set up. You get,
Yeah.
I'm not hungry, or no, I don't want to do that. Like, you're taking me to study this. I don't want to do that. I want to
Mhm.
do something else." Like, we are more vocal,
Right.
and for many people, that's disrespect because people want to impose what they want for you. You guys, they want you to do what their expectations of you are like. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's not. Yeah, it's not disrespect.
Yeah, that's actually, you make a very good point because like now,
Yeah.
like we know what we want. I mean, to some
Yeah.
extent, like if this is not good for me, I'll tell you, oh no, I don't think that's good for me
Exactly.
because either you've done research or you've talked about you've
Yeah.
seen this and you're like, oh no, I don't think I can do that, but I think I can do this. Which some people will be like, oh, you don't want to listen to what I tell you, yeah.
Yeah. And then that's where they start saying you're very disrespectful. You don't want to listen. We know what's good for you. No, you
Mhm,
don't.
mhm. Yeah.
It's life. It's not as it used to be. It's different. We
So
have
yeah,
now a different many things.
like we're on this some topic. You mentioned something
Yeah.
about like doing life in our 20s. How does that
Yeah.
look like? Like, how does that look like to you?
I think doing life in our 20s, we put up a very harsh reality, like an imagination of what should be, and then forget what the reality is.
Mhm,
Very many of our friends are out there putting up, social media has really, it's very good, yeah, but it has also changed so many things. So most of us feel like we have to put up a front that, is perfect, a good life. Like, I go out, I travel, I do this, it's
mhm,
out all the time. You get like I have money, or you get, and yet the reality is that you're struggling, and that is
mhm,
okay. Like,
mhm,
people need to know it's okay to struggle. It's how life works. It's not going to be perfect all the time. Yeah, but you can't put up a lie to just impress other people. Like,
yeah.
do your life as you, not as others want it to be. Like, just, yeah,
Mhm.
doing life in our 20s. Like, I really want to urge like people not to Instagram now. It's a
Yeah.
sham.
That's true. So I'm unfortunately I'm getting older. I'm getting older, and I'm almost out of the 20s too. But that this comes back to me. There was an episode I've never published it because I've had a lot of guests. Usually I
Yeah.
publish my single episodes when I don't have guests to bring on the podcast,
Yeah.
but this it's recorded, it's just waiting to come out on the,
Yeah.
but I try to explain who I was and who I was not. because you make a good point, like on the Instagram, and like your friend told you, hey, this guy posts airplanes every time. And like
Yeah.
when kids like see that on my Instagram, I mean, I work on airplanes, so most of the times you're gonna see me posting about airplanes.
Yeah.
But to somebody who doesn't know me, if you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, this kid, yeah, Malayo, like he has everything. He has, but that's
Yeah.
not actually what it is. And I recorded that episode to just tell the kids who I was, because even at one time back in Uganda, like my dad couldn't afford to have food in the house. Like I didn't go to a good school. I went to like a medium school, like I told you. I didn't go to any of
Yeah.
the schools like people know in Uganda,
Yeah.
but it's all like just struggling and just working hard and just knowing what you
Yeah.
want. And that's the thing that I want to say, like the reality is not what you see on social media. The reality
No,
is there's a
no.
lot of things that go on in the back
Yeah.
in the back of the scene, and people should not just go off the social media, because if they just go off that, you never know what goes on in
Yeah.
a
You
person's
never know.
lives. So yeah, that brings a very good point, and people need to think about that.
Yeah, people need to understand it's okay, and that's where the mental health issue comes in. You're trying to put out so much, and it becomes an issue. It develops into a depression, and you can't talk to people about it because those are the people you're trying to impress. So
Yeah,
you
that's
sit down and die with it down there, and
a
then
very
you end up,
no, you finish
yeah,
it. No, you
like you
finish
end
what
up making decisions that will cost you even more. Like, yeah.
I was gonna say. Like I did an episode on mental health, and
Mental health, yeah, I
I
said.
hosted Dr. Jackie, which Dr. Jackie made the same exact point you're making. Like social media has also been a big impact on mental health, because people get into that competition kind of thing. Like I want to be better than this person. I want to, because he posts this, and then you start stressing, struggling, doing things that you're not even supposed to do, which
Yeah.
I don't think. One thing I've told myself is just not competition. Just if I see somebody who is better than me, I'm gonna want to learn. Like, hey,
Learn
how
from
did you
them.
do this? I wanna do that. And like all the guys who do
Yeah.
podcasts, like there's a lot of people who do podcasts who are better than me. But every time I see something good, I'm like, hey, how
Yeah.
did you do that? Like, I wanna learn. Help me, teach me that, instead of
Yeah.
being back of the scenes like, oh, I want to beat this person, or this person has like
I
a
need to be
million,
better.
has a
Yeah.
million subscribers, has this. I'm like, nah.
And that's the issue, subscribers or like followers.
Mhm.
People want so many of them. Like the goal.
On my last episode I just released this week, Mochibi mentioned something like he had an incident happen. He was at the airport and he needed money because something happened that he didn't expect. And he had over 1,000 people on Instagram. But he went and messaged most of the people on his Instagram. Nobody could send him, was it $100 on all the friends he had on there. So like here, you have a bunch followers on your page, like 1,000 followers. But if something happened to you, who is
Would they
going to be
come
the,
to?
yeah, like nobody was coming to her. So that's useless. You rather have the two people that are going to rescue you when something happens than
Yeah.
having 1,000 people who are not going to help you.
That brings me to fake friends.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, oh, our lives are not easy. It's not easy to be in this world. Like, what? But you'll be with people and they actually don't mean well for you. Like,
yeah,
it's just, it's disturbing. Very, very disturbing.
one of your YouTube videos that I watched was the one you did with Kim Swagger.
Yeah.
How
Oh,
did you even forgot about that? It was a while back. You did it a while back.
Yeah. I've not forgotten about it.
Okay.
That was my only interview.
Tell us, how did you get him and how did you plan it? Or like how did it go?
Oh, Kim is a brother, I would say a brother to one of my friends.
Okay.
So she we've been neighbors like from home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they moved into one of the apartments near home, and for some reason we met at a saloon and just started talking, you know. And then she's like, "You stay around?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, I stay around." And then we start, you know, she shows me her home, so we would meet and say hello and all that. And then yeah, one day she's like, "Oh, my brother does this," and I'm like, "Oh, I would like to host him." And we just had just a simple conversation, and he said,
All
"Yeah,
right.
why not? Just let me know when you can." And we've been friends now, like since yeah.
I like people who are celebrities and just up down to earth. You know, sometimes some celebrities put themselves on a high, and I pray to God every day that I'm not like that. However much I become a celebrity, I just want to be humble and stay low, no matter how much
Sometimes
money
you can't
you get.
avoid it.
Yeah, so that's why
Sometimes you can't avoid it.
one person asked me if I ever want to be a celebrity. I was like, no, I don't want to. I don't think I can handle the pressure.
Yes, you can.
No,
Yes,
no,
you can.
I don't think I can.
You're built for this.
Nope. I don't want to be a celebrity. I just want to be me. I just want to be
Yeah.
stay low, stay humble. But yeah, because that reminded me of one celebrity. I'm not gonna mention her name, and I'll just say it's a she. She's a she. And so somebody connected me to her. We talked on WhatsApp. She's a musician in Uganda. So I got to host her on the podcast. We scheduled everything. And then she was like, "Oh, you should send me money for data." So you I was like, I don't really care how much of a celebrity you are. I don't really care how much impact you would have been for my podcast, or people know, oh, I hosted this celebrity. I was like, no, I'm not giving you money. Like I host these poor, like I wouldn't say poor kids. Like I host these people, regular people who do not even make as much money as this
Did you
person.
just call us poor?
No, I didn't. I canceled it before I said it. I was gonna...
Okay. Okay.
I'm gonna cut that out. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Please don't cut it out. They need to know who you are.
No, I didn't say poor. I didn't mean it in that sense. I didn't mean it in that sense. Like I was trying to mean it like this celebrity makes way so much money than the people that I host on my podcast. Like there's a kid, nobody even knows him. He's called Extreme. I recorded with him. He asked me, "Hey, I'm an upcoming artist. Can you host me in a podcast?" Nobody even knows him. I was like, "Yeah, I want to host you." And I had a fun time with him. He was talking about his new song. Actually, his song was pretty good. But he never asked me, like, "Hey, send me data." But this celebrity asked me for data. I was like, "No, that's not what I'm doing. That's not why I'm doing this." Like, so I never. Yeah. It's something like it's, you know, I never did that. But anyway,
sorry. You know, they're used to endorsements and people drooling over them. And they know that, you know, every time they come to your thing, there's probably going to be like a lot of views or what. So yeah, that's why she probably asked for money or like data.
I don't have that kind of money to spend. I would rather give it to a kid who wants to go to school or something. Yeah, who needs it? But nah. So what has been your life lesson to this point?
Life is basically what I go with now. It's never that serious.
Okay.
It's never that serious. Like, don't break your leg trying to prove things. Don't break your leg trying to, you know, like don't choke on things that you know you could get options for.
Right.
Like, yeah, I've learned to let go easily. Like, I'm not going to, not in the sense that I don't want to push for something. I just feel like there are things that are not worth a lot of energy and time.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And I think a lot of people need to hear that. There's something that shouldn't take your sleep or shouldn't take your time, you know. Like I love sleep. That's why I brought sleep up first. Like if something messes up with my sleep, we got an issue. But like I just want to get my sleep, you know, like that's
so good. Yeah.
So
I love sleep too. Like I struggle with actually falling asleep. So when someone disturbs my sleep, like we are not okay.
Yeah. Now my work schedule, I wake up at 4 and then 4 a.m. in the morning every day. So I want to get in my 8 hours of sleep. So if something is bothering my sleep, it better be something worth me miss my sleep. Like, but that some things shouldn't take your time, but just sleeping.
True.
You mentioned something. Well, I missed it, but I just came back to my thoughts about you started a business during COVID. What kind of business did you do?
Liquor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why didn't you talk about this a long time ago? Could have had a whole conversation about
liquor.
it. Okay.
I started a liquor business. So this is what happened during COVID. I remember a friend of mine told me, she says, Prisca, we're not moving, but I want alcohol. Like, I really need alcohol in my house. So I tell her, I'm like, you know what, I can deliver for you.
Okay.
Send me a list of what you want and the money. I'll give you the price. So you send me the money and I'll have a border delivery to you, because borders were moving. And she actually did. I just looked up online, found a way, got someone. I talked to a friend of mine and she sent me a number of a supplier. So I hit them up and I'm like, oh, can I get this quick? And they say yes. I'm like, okay, I need this and this and this and this. Send it to this location. And they did. It was quite easy. So I'm like, you know what? We like alcohol. As Ugandans, we drink. Like, people were, during COVID, people would sneak just to go drink. Like, so I'm like, this will get you money.
Not to cut you short, but if even if somebody does it right now, even if you do it on your phone right now, you Google what's the most drunk country in the whole world, Uganda is number one.
We are there. Trust me. We love enjoyment. Ugandans love enjoyment. Like, I don't even know how we are this poor and we are this happy.
Because of alcohol.
We love to drink. Like, we love to have a good time. Yeah. So when that happened, that was the one client I had. It was just her, and she helped me make up my mind. I'm like, you know what, this is it. I'm going to do this business, and I'm going to start putting it out there so people know that I actually do this. And I've been doing that now.
So how do people get connected to you?
Usually on social media, on my WhatsApp and Instagram. You can always message me, and that's the one thing I always make sure I always have my phone with me to make sure when someone hits you up and they're like, oh, I need the delivery, you can be easy for them to access.
So is it something that you think has benefited you, like making profit out of it, the business? How is it going?
I think it has. It's okay. It's doing okay. So I need to do a little more marketing, but I'm doing okay. I'm building a clientele, which is not bad. It's a good thing. But sometimes it's slow. It's business, so it's not going to be perfect still.
So you deliver all over Kampala, or even outside Kampala?
Even outside Kampala.
Okay.
Gulu, because also in Gulu,
Oh, in Gulu too. I know who to reach out to when I come back to Uganda now.
Yes, yes, you do.
Yeah, I know there's some friends of mine I have that I went to school with. They drink, and that'll be. I might get you some customers.
Nice.
So that's really good. I mean, it's always good to be innovative. No matter how different ways you can make money, it's always good to be creative and having something going. And I'm glad you studied that. So is that the link, the username under your profile on your personal? That's the one for your business.
Lux Liquors. It's basically on my Instagram there. Like, so if you are on my profile, you'll see it there, like Lux Liquors. So when you tap it, you can just get to the page.
All right. Yeah, sounds good. I wish you talked about this earlier. We could have gone on to, what's your favorite drink to drink?
Oh, I love Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I love Jack Daniels.
Yeah, there's a lot of drinks in the US. There's a lot of alcohol in the US. People drink.
There is so much alcohol in the world. Like, so much. Like, you have to, now with the business I do, like, you have to find time to learn these things. Like you need to know the alcohol, because some people will call you and they'll tell you, I want something like this. You get, and then you have to be able to recommend for them a few bottles. I'm learning so much about wine because it's something I've started to love like a lot. Yeah. So
wines are good too. Wines are good too.
Yeah. Very, very
anyway. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I'm glad I didn't miss that, because I'm glad that thought came back in my head. But so we're almost coming close to this podcast. I really enjoyed just talking with you, Natural, and just knowing about you and what you do. This is why I love this podcast. Like, you get to know somebody. Like, I've been friends with you for like maybe 4 or 5 years. I don't know, but like really not knowing you as a person and your background, and then my listeners get to listen to you and your story, and also reminding them to follow your YouTube channel. I mean, I know you said you're very busy, and like from what you say, you're very busy. You do this, you do that, but they should follow you. What? Why did you make that face?
Because I did say I was very busy.
No, from listening to you, you have the job you do where you say for your whatever you
content. The content creation,
yeah, and then you do the liquor. And then
it's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
Look at you counting your fingers. They're not many.
I was counting. I think there are like 5 of them. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's okay. Okay, now I was trying to protect you for the reason why you're not putting out content on your YouTube channel. But now you just put yourself out, like you just don't want to. That's what she's basically saying.
Oh God, yeah. I've really struggled with that. I'm really trying to work on.
No, it takes commitment. Like even me doing this podcast, like I have a full-time job where like you have to work all day, but like finding time. But it's good that on the weekends I can record with people and then edit and then bring it out later on during the week. But anyway, so we're coming close to the end of this episode, but I have 2 questions left for you. One of it, what gets you excited about life?
Opportunities. I get excited to know that every day will come with a different opportunity. So be it bad or good, it's an opportunity. I believe that even mistakes are an opportunity for you. Like you will learn something out of it. So yeah, opportunity.
And one thing I want to add on that is like there is no opportunity that is missed. If you miss it, somebody else is going to take it. So somebody else will take it. My final questions for you. Who would you like to see on the podcast next? And you're going to help me find that person to be hosting the podcast.
Totally. I already have someone.
Okay. Oh, you already have somebody? Look at you go. I think
she does diasporan content, developing in Africa series.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll totally recommend that you talk with her. She's very professional. I've learned a lot from her. Like a lot. I'm still learning. Yeah.
Look at you go. You're the definition of a friend of the show, because you already knew I'm going to ask you the question and you already have somebody. Because that's my signature question. I use it to build my
I was ready.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah. And if you want to post her, I can reach out to her.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll reach out to you and see how we can make that happen. So, Prisca, thank you very much for coming on my podcast. I've enjoyed.
Thank you for hosting me. Next time, you'll be on my channel.
Okay.
All right.
Hey there, I am Bonnie Kibuka, the host of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Thanks for watching my video, and don't forget to hit subscribe and share with a friend. Tune in every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time for a new episode about my podcast. And for more information about this podcast, follow me on my Instagram page, talk_show_256.